May mga bata ngayon na nire-recruit sa online courts na the more extreme yung ginagawa mo, the more respect you get. Parang street cred siya, no? And one of the most disturbing groups na may ganitong sistema is 764. Nagsimula sila nitong 2021. Sinimulan siya ng isang 15-year-old from Texas, went by the name Felix. Now, galing siya sa isa pang dark online community kung saan natutunan niya kung paano pag-manipulate and mang-blackmail ng minors. No? Eventually, gumawa siya ng sarili niyang private server. Then, kumalat na ito into different groups and copycats using the same system. And the scary part, hindi naman sila lalapit and say sa isang bata, hey, join ka sa cult namin. Obviously, hindi siya ganun. Mag-uumpisa yan, di kami as friends. Okay, and then usually hanapin nila yung mga batang lonely, bullied, may mga family problems, or simply looking for someone who understands them. Kakausapin nila yun regularly, papakinggan nila yung problems, bibigyan nila ng attention. Minsan may pa-virtual gifts pa yan, no? Inside the game. Now, they can also pretend na ka-age sila ng target or magpapanggap na romantically interested. That process is called online grooming. Hindi ito yung pag-aayos sa sarili. No? In this context, it means slowly gaining a child's trust para later on, mas madali siyang i-manipulate and control. Once may trust na, ilipat nila yung conversation from public game or social media chat into a private chat. And that's where the things slowly start to change. Usually, hindi pa naman nag-extreme. It might start with dark jokes, offensive memes, or shocking videos. Now, kapag off na yung bata, sasabihin nila, relax lang, joke lang yan. No? They'll make the kid feel weak and overly sensitive. No? But over time, the content gets worse. Let me start showing gore, real photos, or videos of severe injuries and violence. And at first, syempre, shocked and disgusted yung bata. But after seeing it, repeatedly over and over again, pwede siyang masanay. That violence now slowly starts to feel normal. And at the same time, ipaparamdam ng group na sila lang yung taong nakaka-imbita sa kanila. Parang, you belong here. Kami lang yung real friends mo. Hindi ka namin i-judge. So habang nagiging malapit siya dun sa online group, pwede naman siyang slowly lumayo sa real friends and real family. And eventually, that online community becomes his world. Then comes the next stage. They're gonna ask now for personal information, pwedeng pangalan, address, phone number, saan yung school, minsan social media ng parents. Siyempre, dahil iisipin ng bata, trusted na friend siya or sometimes even a romantic partner. Ibibigay na yun, willingly. That's when the relationship suddenly changes. Yung dating uma-acting na kaibigan now says, kung ayaw mong gawin to, ipapadala namin to sa friends, sa classmates mo. Alam namin saan ka nakatira. Alam namin saan ka nag-aaral. Yan na, that's blackmail na. And syempre, because of fear and shame, pwedeng sumunod yung bata sa instructions at first. Maliit lang or embarrassing lang yung ipapagawa. Pero kailangan, nakakamera siya. Once the child does it, akala niya yun, tapos na. But actually, may bago na naman silang recording na pwedeng gamitin against the victim. So then, the next demand becomes worse. That's how the control escalates. Every time the child follows, the group gets more material. And the more material they have, the harder it becomes for the victim to leave. Now, eventually, yung biktima may be ordered to hurt themselves, harm an animal, or commit violence against another person. In some cases, kailangan nila yan i-record or i-live stream. So isipin mo, bakit kailangan i-live stream or i-record? Kasi yung footage isn't used only for blackmail. Trophy rin siya inside the community. And the more victims you control and the more extreme contents you produce, the more status you gain. And here's the really twisted part. Minsan, yung victim becomes a recruiter para hindi na siya yung laging tina-target. Hanap naman siya ng ibang mas vulnerable na bata. So instead of being The one receiving orders, siya naman yung magbibigay ng orders. And once you produce a content from the new victim, now tataas yung rank or street cred niya. So the system keeps growing. A victim can become abuser, and then the person finds another victim, and the cycle continues. In the most extreme documented cases, victims were encouraged to take their own lives while people watch online. Syempre doon, may audience na mag-react, mag-uudyo, and people waiting to see for the person kung gagawin niya ba o hindi. Now, your recording may be saved or shared to the group, and then the violence becomes content. Suffering becomes trophy. Now, the attention becomes the reward. Now, dito nagiging relevant yung mga nangyayari dito sa Pilipinas, like sa Tacloban shooting. Yung investigators, they actually found reports or records that connection sa 764. Meron reported digital evidence. Not simply used an online platform or naglaro ng Roblox. Dito naman sa Zamboanga, wala pang lumalabas na same level of evidence, but there's one disturbingly similar. Part of the attack was live stream. Diba? And we've seen that already in 764 and other violent online communities, but linawin lang natin, similarity is not proof. Hindi pa natin pwedeng sabihin na member nga siya ng 764, yung Zamboanga shooting, playing Roblox does not automatically mean na part siya ng isang group. Millions of kids play Roblox without ever being involved in anything like this. Now, the real questions are, may nakausap ba siyang recruiter? May sinilihan ba siyang private group? Was somebody encouraging him? And was there a specific online audience waiting for that live stream? Hanggat wala pang forensic results from his gadgets and accounts, speculation pa lang yung direct 764 connection. And even if investigators eventually confirm, hindi pa rin yun yung complete answer. Imagine, why was the child vulnerable in the first place? Bakit sa isang dangerous community niya pa mahanap yung belonging and validation na kailangan niya? Were there warning signs that adults miss? And most importantly, paano siya nagka-access sa real firearms? Is the online cult really the root cause or symptom lang ito ng deeper problems involving family, mental health, school system, gun access, or maybe the society itself? That's what we're gonna examine in part 2.